Kelli Jean from Adult and Teen Services Department.
And I'm Kyra from the Youth Services Department. And today we are celebrating
National Ramen Day. Many cultures around the world have some kind of noodle.
Spaghetti,
Chow mein,
soba,
spatzel,
glass noodles,
raggi noodles,
kaluski,
ramen. Instant ramen has a fascinating history that touches many cultures and countries along the way. Let's talk about the history of ramen. It all started in China, where the noodles were first developed as an essential part of their cuisine and culture. But it wasn't until the noodle made its way to Japan that it really began to evolve into the ramen that we know and understand today.
That's right. Ramen was brought to Japan in the late 19th century, and the word itself is actually a Japanese word borrowing from the Chinese term ramen, which means pulled noodles. The first ramen shops in Japan were run by Chinese immigrants in places like Yokohama and other port cities, serving up delicious bowls of noodles that would eventually inspire the ramen culture we know today.
After World War II, Japan was facing economic hardship, and there was a huge demand for inexpensive and easy to prepare food. Momofuku Ando, the inventor of instant ramen, took that challenge head on. In 1958, after several failed attempts, Ando finally perfected the process of making instant ramen. He called it Chikin ramen, and it was an instant success. His invention revolutionized the way that people ate ramen in Japan, and soon that spread all over the world.
That's when the global explosion of ramen began. Other cultures started developing their own versions of instant noodles. By the 1980s and 1990s, ramen culture was beginning to spread internationally, with people everywhere enjoying the quick, easy, and comforting nature of instant ramen. It became a staple food not only in Asia, but across the globe.
Ramen has become an international cultural phenomenon. It's cheap, convenient, and comforting, making it accessible food for people all over the world. But its fascination with instant ramen doesn't stop at its famous cups and packets.
Companies have gotten really creative with ramen flavors over the years. Some unexpected ones have hit the shelves, like everything bagel, pumpkin spice, chicken nuggets with French fries, and even a dessert flavor called campfire s'mores, which Cup Noodles' parent company describes as a gooey, sweet noodle experience.
And it's not just about the noodles. Instant ramen has made its way into all kinds of products. Giant soup mugs, purses, ornaments, sweatshirts, keychains, and more. I even have an ornament right here for your Christmas tree that looks like instant ramen.
Love it.
And ramen flavored foods have become a trend too. Asian companies have long been making ramen snacks, but even international brands like Pringles and Funyuns have partnered with instant ramen brands to create limited edition ramen flavored chips.
In addition to merchandise and limited edition snacks, ramen has become deeply woven into popular culture, making appearances in manga, anime, movies, and TV shows. For example, in Naruto, the main character is not only famous for his love of ramen, but the anime and manga may even get its name from the pink and white fish cakes often served in ramen. Ramen's cultural influence doesn't stop there. Did you know there's even a ramen museum in Japan?
I do now.
There are entire festivals and competitions dedicated to ramen, where people not only showcase their cooking skills, but also compete in eating massive amounts of it. High-end restaurants have even taken ramen to new heights, transforming it into a gourmet experience.
And there's a reason that the standard noodles and savory flavors have stood the test of time. So let's get to making some ramen. Next up, we're going to share our favorite ways to prepare and top our instant ramen. We're going to get started with my favorite ramen topping, and it might seem a little bit surprising. My favorite instant ramen topping is a slice of American cheese. Not something you'd expect to hear, right? But there's actually a Korean dish called budae-jjigae, or Korean stew, that also uses instant noodles and American cheese, along with other staples like kimchi and Spam. It was created during the Korean War when both American soldiers and Korean people were working with cheap, easy to get rations and staples. What started out as a dish born out of necessity, food that was available, affordable, easy to find, turned into a beloved comfort food that is still very popular today. Budae-jjigae is a great example of the cultural fusion that ramen is all about. A reminder of how ingredients and flavors move and mix as food travels, influenced by history and by different cultures. Now, this version I'm making today is way simpler than budae-jjigae or army stew, but it shows how those unexpected combinations, like ramen and cheese, might not be so unexpected after all. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, the cheese does something pretty cool to the broth. It adds some thickness and body, plus an extra little salty kick. American cheese specifically works here because it's got an ingredient called an emulsifier. That's a special ingredient that helps things that don't usually mix, like oil and water, stay together. That's why it melts so well, and it's perfect for things like grilled cheese sandwiches or cheeseburgers. Other cheeses, like cheddar, for example, that might separate into solids and oils, which is going to leave you with a stringy, clumpy mess instead of a nice, smooth broth. Once it melts, you're not even going to be able to tell it's cheese in there at all. And I am going to show you. All right. So I'm going to get started by making my noodles. I have my pot boiling here. I am using something called an induction burner, and that makes things hot by using an electromagnetic field, which is kind of cool. All right, so I'm gonna get my noodles going in here. I'm gonna just follow the instructions on the package to make the noodles, and then I'll show you the part where I add the cheese. So now that my ramen is all ready, I'm gonna start by adding my slice of cheese to the bottom of my bowl. Get that unwrapped here. So when I pour my hot broth over the top of it, it starts to melt right away, and then the heat from the noodles will stay kind of pushing down into it. All right, I'm also gonna use a chopstick to stir, just so I don't have to do some dishes later. Here we go. So mixing that up really good right away. And you can see it starts to change color a little bit. That broth just gets a little bit creamier. A little bit less yellow, a little more orange. All right, and we're just looking at the bottom to see if there's still any clumps. Just a couple. All right, there we are. We can see that instead of a clear broth like we started with, oops, a little mess, that's okay, we can clean it up. We have kind of a milky, opaque color here. And that is all of that nice and creamy cheese that has just added that body to our broth. So there we have it, ramen and cheese. If you're playing along with our Ultimate Ramen Showdown this week, you've already picked up your take-home kit from the library. You may have noticed that some of the ramen flavors in it are a little bit spicy, but don't worry, adding cheese like the trick I just taught you can help tone that down. There are two reasons for that. The first one is called dilution, which is when you add something not spicy, like cheese, to a spicy food, and it lowers the amount of spice in each bite. You can also do this by adding more broth or water to your bowl. The second reason is that dairy, like the cheese that we just added, contains a protein called casein. Casein helps grab onto that spicy stuff and kind of washes it off your taste buds. It's kind of like how soap cleans your hands, but it tastes way better. So if your ramen's too spicy, adding a little cheese or having a glass of milk on the side can help do the trick. And you might need these tips I just shared to beat the heat, because coming up next, Kyra is going to share her favorite topping to spice things up.
People enjoy spicy foods for a variety of reasons, both physiological, that means from your body, and psychological, in your mind. Here are some key factors. When you eat spicy foods, compounds like capsaicin found in chili peppers bind to receptors in your mouth that signal pain to your brain. In response, your body releases endorphins and dopamine, which are natural painkillers and mood boosters. But spice isn't just about heat. It adds a unique flavor profile to foods. Many people appreciate the depth and complexity that chili peppers, hot sauces, and spices bring to dishes. Spicy foods can complement sweetness, sourness, or bitterness, creating a well-rounded taste experience. In many cultures, spicy food is a staple. People raised in these environments often develop a tolerance and love for heat over time. Social dynamics also play a role, as eating spicy food can be seen as a challenge, an expression of boldness, or a way to bond with others. So whether it's the pleasure of endorphins, the complexity of flavors, or the challenge of enduring the heat, people are drawn to spicy foods for a variety of reasons that go way beyond liking heat. For my taste test, we are going spicy. There are many different toppings you can use to turn up the heat on your ramen, but today I'm going to be adding my personal favorite, chili crisp. Chili crisp is a flavorful, spicy condiment made from a mixture of fried chili peppers, garlic, shallots, and other seasonings. The key elements of chili crisp are its crispy, crunchy texture and the combination of umami-rich oils with the heat of the chilies. The oil in chili crisp is usually infused with the flavors of the fried ingredients, making it a savory and slightly smoky addition to foods. It's super versatile and can be used to enhance various dishes like ramen, dumplings, noodles, stir fry, or even just as a topping for rice or pizza. The combination of crispy bits with the oil makes it a unique and addictive condiment. All right, now it's time to taste test. I've already prepared my ramen according to the packaging, and because I like my ramen a little on the drier side, I separated out most of the broth. Now let's spice it up. I'm going to start with just a small spoonful and mix it into my noodles. Put it right on top, and then mix it in. Look at that chili crisp. It's just dancing in the noodles. You've got those crispy bits floating in there. I'm really excited. All right, now that we've got it all mixed in, it's time for the most important part, the taste test. Oh, wow. That's just incredible. It's got this instant hit of garlic and spice, but then the crispy bits add such a nice crunch. The heat is there, but it's not overwhelming. It really just adds this complex flavor that makes the ramen taste, I don't know, more alive. If you've been thinking about trying chili crisp on ramen, do it. Don't hesitate. This combo is a match made in heaven. The chili crisp gives it that extra kick, but it still lets the ramen shine. It's not overwhelmingly hot, but it definitely packs a punch. Perfect for those who like their ramen with a little extra fire. The balance of heat with the richness of the broth, pure magic.
Throughout this video, we've explored ramen's rich history, cultural impact, and influence beyond the bowl. Now that Kyra and I have shared our tricks for making a great bowl of instant ramen, we're excited to introduce some ramen racks, books, movies, and more that celebrate ramen in all its forms. Kyra has some fantastic picks for kids, while I'll be sharing recommendations for general audiences, as well as selections just for teens and adults. You can find them all in the library or through our e-content databases with your new Lennox Public Library card. It's time to use your noodle as we take things from plate to page and beyond. 101 More Things to Do with Ramen Noodles by Tony Patrick. Think ramen is just for a soup? Think again. This book features a new collection of uncommon ways to make and use instant ramen noodles. From breakfast to dessert, this book shows you 101 surprising ways to use ramen noodles in your cooking, like ricotta frittata and ramen pad thai.
Magic Ramen, the story of Momofuku Ando by Andrea Wang. Discover the inspiring story of Momofuku Ando, the inventor of instant ramen. After many failed experiments in his backyard shed, Ando's efforts and passion led to the invention of the first packaged instant ramen. His work changed the way people enjoy these noodles, turning them into the iconic staple we love today.
Let's Make Ramen, a comic book cookbook by Hugh Amano. Get ready for a fun, comic style cookbook packed with delicious ramen recipes. From simple, accessible weeknight bowls to more ambitious weekend ramen projects like stocks and homemade noodles. This book has everything you need to get creative in the kitchen. Plus, get insights and advice from ramen pros in this fun, visual format.
Ramen for Everyone by Patricia Tanumi Harda. Hiro is on a mission to create the perfect bowl of ramen, but nothing goes quite right. With a dash of creativity and a sprinkle of help from his dad, Hiro discovers that the best ramen is the one that's all his own.
Ramen 80 Easy Noodle Bowls and Broths by Makiko San. Take a journey around the world in 80 bowls. From street stall favorites to self described TikTok style instant recipes and more. This cookbook has 80 recipes for noodles, broths, and creative add ons so you can customize your ramen exactly the way you like it.
Trading Pizza for Ramen by Brenda Lynn Cohen. Jacob's life is turned upside down when his family moves from Seattle to Tokyo. With only 3 months to adjust, Jacob navigates the chaos of moving and the challenges of being immersed in a new culture. From ramen shops to baseball games, Jacob learns important lessons about friendship, family, and embracing new experiences.
Ramen Heads. This delicious documentary dives deep into the world of ramen, exploring the passion and the craft behind one of Japan's most beloved dishes through the profiles of 6 notable ramen shops, each with its own philosophy and flavor, which exemplifies the different aspects of the ramen world. Ramen Heads provides a bite sized history of ramen's historical roots while giving an in depth look at the cultural phenomenon of ramen.
The Discovery of Ramen by Philip Amara. Join Ethan and Emma along with their guide Dao, the red panda, as they travel through time to learn how ramen was created and became a global favorite. From 19th century Japan to the rise of instant ramen and even space, this engaging story introduces young readers to the history behind ramen, complete with vibrant illustrations and a Japanese glossary.
On the Noodle Road from Beijing to Rome with Love and Pasta by Jen Lin Liu. Who really invented the noodle? Embark on a fascinating journey along the Silk Road in this travelogue chronicling a 6-month adventure from China through Central Asia, Turkey, Iran, and finally arriving in Italy. Along the way, discover how the simple act of preparing food together fosters unexpected, often intimate connections between people. On the Noodle Road is a delightful exploration of food, culture, love, and the global fascination with noodles. Ramen Girl. An American woman moves to Tokyo and, after a difficult breakup, discovers the comfort of a bowl of ramen at a family owned shop. As she returns each day to learn from the chef, the art of making ramen becomes a metaphor for her personal journey of self discovery and finding her place in the world. National Dish. Around the World in Search of Food, History, and the Meaning of Home by Anya von Bremsen. Take a global journey through the history and cultural significance of national dishes, including ramen. This book explores how food shapes identity and offers a deeper appreciation of what makes these national dishes so beloved. Look at how the country makes the food and the food makes the country. Be sure to check out the section titled Tokyo Ramen and Rice for an in-depth look at Japan's culinary staples. The Restaurant of Lost Recipes by Hisashi Kashiwai. This is one of my favorites. We all hold lost recipes in our hearts, and a very special restaurant in Kyoto helps to find them. This is a beautiful story about food, family, and the memory that comes with each meal. In this volume, the Kamogawa food detectives find 6 more lost recipes, including a nostalgic ramen from a riverside food stall long since closed. It's comfort food for the heart and the soul. Kienka Ramen Volume 1 by Shigeru Tsuchiyama. In this action packed manga series, the rivalry between ramen chefs reaches a boiling point. An ex game biker returns home to face off with his rivals and to save his father's struggling ramen shop. As tensions rise, things heat up with intense competition, culinary innovation, yakuza confrontations, and simmering romance, and the relentless quest for the perfect bowl of ramen.
Thanks for joining us for our celebration of National Ramen Day. We hope you learned more about the history and cultural significance of the seemingly humble ramen we know today.
And if you're participating at the library's Ultimate Ramen Showdown, voting's now open. You can vote now through next week, ending on Friday, April 11th, for your favorite of 5 instant ramens. Take a look at the new Lenox Public Library website for the link to voting.
And if you like food, be sure to check out our other food programs, like Cooking with Kyra for Kids, with the help of grown-up,
and bi-monthly Spice Club kits for teens and adults. Check out the calendar on our website or a print program guide for more information on these and other food programs.
Thanks for joining us,
And happy Ramen Day!
Bye!